Hello YouTube, it's CalFX here, and I'm back with another one. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. So, this actually was the first week of the month that I traded, because I didn't actually trade the first two weeks. I was pretty much busy outside, so but because also I really had a great month in March, so I really didn't feel like I needed to trade the month of April. So so far, this week was a little bit slow for me personally because I had a couple of break evens. Pretty much I just broke even this month because I had a few partials here and there, but I ended up breaking even for the week. So it's for me it's very good. It's way better than having a losing week. So also be focused on the students as well, right? Been seeing a lot of great feedback from not only from the mentorship but also from the YouTube. For me, that's something that I'm really it's really humbling for me personally, right? I really love to see the feedback, that from the people that come from YouTube that say that the YouTube content has been helping them understand smart money concepts and stuff like that. And the YouTube is enough, right? The content that it's here, it's enough for you to do good, right? The mentorship is for people that will want to just advance, right, from on the methods that we actually trade every single day, help people pass their challenge. We've got some students who are funded, getting payouts. So for me, just being able to help people achieve their goals, be there for the students every day, that's, for me, that's the most important. That's something that it really makes me feel good, right, in this trading environment, right? And also, by the way, there is a discount, right? I'm actually running a 35% discount on the mentorship. So if you're interested, feel free to, hit my DM. And yeah, last but not least, let's like the video, guys, because a lot of people like watch the video. Some don't, maybe forget to like or subscribe. So let's do that, guys. I'll give you 3 seconds, right? Let's hit the like button and subscribe. 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get into the video. So let's start with EURUSD. Let's just look at it from the monthly time frame, right? Right here, we can see something very interesting is that this right here, this major structure that we're seeing right here, this is the yearly price action, right? So we can clearly see that from the yearly, EURUSD has been bullish, right? The structure is just bullish, and price came to this yearly bullish order block. So now, when price comes to our yearly order block, usually what I like to see, which is a confirmation that the structure is turned bullish completely, is I would love to see a week, at least a monthly change of character to the upside. So if we look at the structure, what happened is that we had this high, we had this low, right? Then price made this high. So we had an order block right here. So the job of this low, once it comes to the order block, we're expecting to see price taking out this high to continue that bullish order flow. What happened? Price came, it failed to create a high. So this is what I call higher high reluctancy. That's when price is failing to break the previous high to continue that bullish order flow. So what happened is that this low, it failed to do its job, which was to take out the previous high. So what happened? It became weak. That's why price actually ended up taking that low. And now we can see that our overall structure on the monthly is bearish, right? So we can see that we're still trading within this this monthly range, bearish range right here, right? So it's very, very important because most of the times I see people going to the daily, right? Maybe it's because they're scalpers, right? I personally just look at the daily, but it's very important to be able to understand what's going on the monthly, because you get to see the higher time frame intention on a pair, right? So sometimes on the daily, you may just see a pullback, right? That pullback of a bearish range, right, towards the upside, and then we may see that continuation, and people may just think that the pair is bullish forever. So right here, we had just something very interesting, is that Some people call this demand to supply flip, right? That's very valid as well, right? We can see the price tapped the demand, it failed to create a high, so this was bullish sentiment in the market depleting, right? They were just losing strength. Then the bearish came and violated that demand zone. So we're expecting to see at least what I like to see. If we put the Fibonacci from this low all the way to this previous high, we can see the price just came to about 50%. So there's a possibility the price may react at a supply zone and then start to drop towards the downside. And you will see why, right? When I drop down to the weekly, is that we have lots of imbalances below. So let me just drop down to the weekly time frame. Here we are, right, on the weekly. So if we can see is once price came to this yearly order block, we had this yearly weekly change of character right here to the upside. So now the first order block that I had was this one, right? And I was expecting to see price actually coming down and then continue to move towards the upside. But what happened is that price left this huge imbalance right here and just started to print this bullish order flow right here. This daily order flow, bullish order flow. So let me drop down to the daily to see what's going on. And here we are. We can see that the daily price action as of now is bullish, right? Because we had this high, then we had this low. Then price broke structure, created this new high. It came down to mitigate the order block that was responsible for breaking the previous high. It came down perfectly mitigated and then broke structure again. So now we had this structure, this range low and range high. What was responsible for breaking this previous high? It was this order block right here. Price came right here and respected that order block, went on to the upside, right, and broke that previous high. So right here, we just have this daily bullish order flow intact. So now what's the range, right? What's our range right here? Well, we have this swing low, and now we have this swing high. But what we can see is that this low right here that you guys are seeing, this was responsible. This was the decisional low that was responsible for taking out this daily previous high, right? So that's why we're seeing this reaction right here. There's a possibility the price may react to this order block, right? As it just did that this week. And then we may see that continuation towards the upside, right? So it's very important to keep that in mind. So if I drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we can see that the structure on the 4-hour is still bullish, right? So we haven't seen a sign of bearish intention yet because the overall swing structure is still bullish. Now, if I drop down, for example, to the hourly, because what I was expecting is that, okay, this is a daily, actually, order block, right? So let me just zoom in. This right here is a daily order block right here. So price came down to this black candle, and we expected to see price continue to take out this previous high and continue the bullish order flow. Now, usually when price comes to my daily order block, I like to see an hourly change of character. So if I drop down to the 2 hours, for example, and let me just show you the price action. We can see that overall the structure is still bearish right here. It hasn't turned bullish yet, right? Because we have this low right here as well. So price just came to this extreme supply zone. I was expecting to see price actually coming all the way down, taking this liquidity that is sitting below. And the reason for that is because I also had this 4-hour extreme bullish order block right here, right? Right here. This is actually on the 4-hour is much cleaner. So it was this one right here that I was expecting to see price coming down, and then we will see that continuation towards the upside. But there is a possibility that this may be violated as well, this supply zone, and price just continues to push towards the upside, right? So on the 4-hour, on the 2 hours time frame, right, for the week, what I'm expecting to see, right, I'm waiting to see if price is going to hold, if this supply zone is going to hold, right? If we will see price actually then coming down, right? So then we can look for sales. If not, we may see the price will break structure to the upside, and we should be looking for sales, for buys from the M15, right? So that's it for EURUSD. Let's move to the next pair. So here we are on Aussie dollar, right? So Aussie dollar has been, I mean, the price action on Aussie dollar so far has been very, very, very clean. I really like this pair. We can see that the structure right here is is bearish, right? Let me even start from the monthly time frame so we can understand the outlook on this one. So if you look at the monthly, what's the first thing you see? Is the structure. The first question you should ask yourself when you're doing a market outlook, I actually make a video on how to do a market outlook very soon, is you come from the monthly, right? And you ask, okay, what's the monthly height, the monthly intention, right? And what's the structure there? What's the bias? If you look at it from a swing structure perspective, we can see that, okay, we had this low, we had the high, and then we had this low. So price pulled back, right, and mitigated this extreme supply zone. And now it respected it's now we can see the drop towards the downside, right? So our expectation right here is to see this weekly bearish order flow to continue and take out this weekly low right here, right? This is a weak low because this low failed to take out the high. It respected. So now we can see price actually coming down towards this low and then continue that overall bearish order flow on the Aussie dollar. Now, let's drop down to the weekly time frame. Now we can see that the weekly time frame is coinciding with the monthly, right? Everything is bearish right here. We can see this beautiful bearish order flow right here. We had the break, price came back, broke, then price actually used that high as inducement to sweep because this point of interest actually wasn't fully mitigated. So price just mitigated this order block. We expected to see price taking out this weekly low right here, right? So the order flow right here is just very visible, it's bearish, right? So once price comes to my weekly point of interest, I always say I like to see a daily change of character. So that's when I drop down to the daily time frame. And I saw this point of interest right here, which was very significant, right? And the other one at the extreme that I had previously was this one, but I'm really not sure if price is going to pull back all the way up, right? Because we have pretty much, I mean, a lot of the price action above is efficient, right? We don't have that many imbalances right here. And so I'm not seeing a huge reason as to why price has to pull back all the way up, right? It may do that, but I'm not seeing it from the price action right here because pretty much everything is efficient here. We don't have that many fair value gaps above, right? So price came to this supply zone that I've been marking this for actually weeks. So price came to this nice daily point of interest. So once price comes to my daily, I like to see the 4-hour change of character, right? So it's very important. Weekly, we look for daily change of character. At the daily point of interest, we like to look for hourly. It can be 4 hour or 2 hour. That's perfect, right? So let's drop down to the 4-hour time frame. And we can see something interesting is that price, this is actually very important, is that price had made this swing high, and then it created this swing low, and then it went all the way to the upside. Now, our expectation to see if price is going to continue bullish is to see price breaking this previous high and close above. When price fails to close above a high, it gives a sign that the bullish sentiment in the market at that particular moment is depleting, right? So it's very important to see this because price came and the body was up here, right? But then what happened is that price failed to close above this previous high, right? We can see that price actually came here. This was just a weak rejection, right? Rejection of our high prices. That's why we saw this huge candle down right here. So this was just showing that the bears was just taking control over the market at this particular point. That's why I had marked these supply zones because I was expecting to see that, okay, price actually failed to close above and violated the previous low. So I'm expecting to see price reacting here and then continue to push towards the downside. And actually, is to respond what the weekly was already telling us, that the structure is bearish. So we're expecting to see that weekly low being violated. So we can see the 4-hour also looking to turn bearish to coincide with the weekly. So now we can see that if we drop down, for example, the hourly, I mean to the 1 hour, or even 30 minutes, we just go weekly. We can see that, I mean, so far right here, we don't have, I mean, a clean price action so far. I'm still expecting to see, let's go back to the 4-hour. We can see that on the 4-hour, I'm still expecting to see the body closure, right? That's something that is very, very important in this scenario. I'm still waiting to see price action because we had this previous high right here, right? We had the structure high, then we had this low, and then we had the high that failed to close above the previous high, right, with a body. So now this was a bullish sentiment, depletion, right? Price then took out the low. So I'm still expecting to see price closing below that 4-hour. So we can have the confirmation that, okay, 4-hour is now turning bearish, right? It's a good confirmation that the 4 hours has now turned bearish. So now we have this point of interest that I'll be looking at, but we also have a lot of imbalances above right here. So we may see price actually closing below and then coming all the way up so that we can sell all the way down, right? So that's the outlook that I have on Aussie dollar. Let's move on to the next pair. So here we are on GU, right? GU also has been bearish, right? I mean, from the weekly time frame, price actually came to this very nice weekly supply zone right here that I've been waiting to see actually price coming here for months already, right? So price actually pushed all the way to the upside. It just tapped the supply zone. We had a lot of imbalances here and void, right, that needs to be filled, right? Because price just started to push all of a sudden to the upside right here. So it came to that supply zone. Now, once price comes to the weekly, as we already know, we like to look for that daily change of character, right? So if we look at what's going on at the daily, the structure is still bullish, right? We can see that, up to this point, we see the price actually had broken structure. It came back to mitigate the order block. It broke structure again, but exactly the same thing, very interesting right here, is that price on the daily failed to close above this previous high. This was a sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting, right? Because the bulls failed to close above the high to show that strength, right? So if I drop down to the 4-hour time frame, what I was still expecting to see is, okay, overall, the 4-hour, if we look at the structure right here, is still bullish, right? Because we had this structure high, right? Then the low, then price created this high. And then it pulled back, created another high, actually closed above this previous high on the 4-hour, even though on the daily we didn't have that break. So now what happened is that we had this nice change of character. Now we're seeing this reaction at this supply zone right here, this buy to sell wicks right here, which is very significant right here. We can see this huge reaction that we had. So I was still expecting to see this low as liquidity for price to come to this 4-hour demand zone, and then maybe we could see the continuation towards the upside, or we will just see the price giving us the daily change of character, right? Because actually the week is still holding, right? The weekly supply is still holding. So there is a possibility that price may give us a daily change of character, and then we will have long-term, we'll just be selling. Or we may see the 4-hour actually holding the structure, and we see the continuation towards the upside and possibly a violation of that supply zone, right? So price just came to this very nice supply zone. So once price comes to my 4-hour, I like to drop down to 30 minutes time frame. And we actually had a couple setups, right, on this one. Actually, I called one on the group. I even sent on the free Telegram group one of the setups that I sent on the group. It was a very nice sell on the 3 minutes time frame. It was very, very, very good. But as far as what we can see is that price actually came up, right? We can see on the 30 minutes also. We had 30 minutes failing to close above this high. So this was bullish sentiment in the market depleting. And I remember when I sent this right here, change of character right here. So what I said is that, okay, we have this less supply zone right here, less point of supply, right, that failed to close above, and then sellers took over right here, the power, right, to take out this low. So what happened is that price came perfectly to this zone right here. Right, I think it was the same thing we saw on Aussie dollar, right? When price failed to close above on the 4-hour high, then price came back to this supply zone. So now we saw this huge, move towards the downside right here. Now price is still coming back, so I'm still waiting to see if this 4-hour is going to hold, right? So we can see price actually coming to that 4-hour point of interest below, right? Or we may see price actually coming to this extreme supply zone that we have above right here, right? So it's still possibilities. We don't have a very clean point of interest to mark right now to wait. So we gotta wait for price to print the setup clearly, right? But as far as we can see, we just had this break of structure, this swing break right here, right? So we're still trading within this bearish range. So this was the range high, swing high, and then we have this swing low right here, right? So price is still trading within this range. So we will only be validating this bearish order flow once price takes out that high and may possibly come towards the supply zone above, right? So that's it for GU. Let's move to the next page. Here we are on New Zealand dollar. So New Zealand dollar is, similarly to Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar is has a very clean price action, and even the bearish order flow it's just very visible right here and very clean. We can see that right here we had the exactly same thing that happened on Aussie dollar, is that we had this break, price then pulled back and then broke structure again. So this was actually used as inducement because there was an order block that wasn't mitigated right here on the daily. So then price actually used this high, trapping so many traders that had limit orders right here, right? So we trapped so many people, just, got a lot of stop hands right there. But it had a reason to do that, because there was a supply zone that wasn't mitigated right here on the daily. So price came perfectly right here. So once price comes to my weekly supply, as we know, I like to drop down to the daily time frame, right? So let's just drop down to the daily. So this is what we had once price came here, is that if we look at the PA, we had this high, we had this low, right? So price broke structure, came back, mitigated that order block. So up to this point, the bullish order flow was intact. Then we had another break to the upside, right? So break of structure right here. What was responsible for breaking that high? It was this black candle right here. That's the order block. Price came perfectly, went all the way up and took out the high. Exactly the same thing that we've been seeing even on GU and Aussie dollar was the same concept that I always talk about, the high reluctancy. Is price actually failing to close above this high? It's one of the reasons why we even saw price taking out this swing low, right? So the first confirmation that we had, even before we see price giving the change of character, is actually seeing price failing to close above a high. So once you have, for example, the bullish structure like this, right? This is still bullish, but then we may see price coming back to the order block, respecting, and then it just drops a week above this previous high. It doesn't close above. Most of the time, this is a sign of bullish sentiment in the market depleting, right? So most likely, it would just be a sign that we may have a change of character, right? So some people may want to predict the change of character right there. A great sign is by seeing price actually failing to close above a previous high. Very powerful right here. So this right here, we saw price actually failing to close above, and then it went all the way down to take out that low. Now, right here, in this scenario, I was using the Fibonacci, right, from this low all the way to the top. And I said, okay, I'm willing to sell anything above 50%. If it comes above 50%, that's the premium level. I'm totally comfortable to sell. So right here, we can see the price, the first supply zone, it was this one right here, right? Because this actually was the point where sellers actually took control over the markets, because once the bulls came, the sellers came, said, we're not going to close above, went all the way down. So the catalyst moved to take out that swing low. It started all the way up here. That's why I marked this as my point of interest. But also, we had another one right here, which was this one, because it actually came, it swept the previous high a little bit, right? And then went on to take out the high. So this was the decisional supply that finally took out the low. So this was the extreme, right? It was the catalyst move. That's where the move started. That's why we see this huge bearish candle. But this was the decisional that finally took out the low right there. So now we can see the price just had a nice pullback towards this daily right here, right? This daily supply zone. So once price comes to my daily supply, I like to go down to the 4 hour, right? We already know that. That's the rule. We drop down to the 4 hour. Now, if you just started the price action on the 4 hour, we can see that we had this high, we had the low, price then made the new high, and then we created the new low, and then price just created this new high. So once price came here, I said, okay, one price just have that daily supply. I want to see the 4 hour change of character. Price broke the structure right there, gave us the change of character. Perfect. As we know, change of character is not a confirmation of trend shift, right? Of trend reversal. It's just the first sign. So right here, we had a nice change of character. Price came to this supply zone right here, perfect, right? And dropped again. We had another 4 hour break of structure to the downside. Once we have the second break of structure to the downside, that was a confirmation of trend reversal, right? So right here, that's what we had. Price came down, broke that low, right? So now we had the point of interest right here. Usually, most of the times, this is something that I also teach on the mentorship, is that most of the times price will not come all the way to the upside. Like some people may say, okay, this right here is the order block, right? And that's totally valid. But most of the times, price will not come all the way to the extreme, right? Supply zone. Sometimes price may just come to like the 50%, right? And this actually was the breaker block right here. I think some of you guys have heard about that, right? But this right here was the breaker block. That's why price came to this area, and now it started to drop to the downside. So sometimes some people will be waiting for price to come to their point of interest, and it doesn't come. Sometimes they don't know why, but that's the something that we also need to have in consideration is breaker blocks, right? So breaker blocks pretty much is just when institutions want to close their positions at break even, right? And most of the times when they come to the extreme, that's when they close their positions at a little bit of profit, right? So in this scenario, price actually came to this point of interest. I think this was on the hourly 30 minutes, because we actually had on the group, we had a sell on New Zealand dollar this week. So price actually came to this buy to sell weeks right here. It had a nice reaction, and then it closed, it broke structure again right here. Now we had this very nice sort of the block right here, right? So we can see that in this scenario, the breaker block was here, right? This was the breaker block. That's why we had this very significant reaction from this week. But the breaker block it failed to close, to hold right here. So we had price coming to the extreme right here of this supply zone. So this actually was refined on M15, but we can just say that this right here was the order block. So price came perfectly here. We could have looked for nice confirmations on the lower time frame and then take the trade, right? So it was nice, price just came down and broke. So if we look at the hourly right here, we can see that the hourly structure is bearish right here, right? The overall order flow on the hourly is bearish. It coincides with the weekly, so everything so far is in sync, right? And price now, then after it broke, it came down to this one. I don't really believe that this is going to hold. It may hold, but it's not at my point, right? Because we usually like to sell anything above 50%, right? And we can see the price didn't even get to 50% right here. So it's not a very significant zone for me to sell on this one. But that's what it is on the hourly. The structure is still bearish, so we'll be looking for opportunities to sell. And the outlook, as we saw from the weekly, is to take out this weekly low, right? And we can see the price is just moving accordingly, right? So that's it for this pair. Let's move to the last one. What I'm gonna look at is gold, right? And we can start from the monthly. We can see that gold, for so long, historically, gold has been, outperforming the dollar. And we can see that we just had this huge push towards the upside right here. Price closed above right here. And if we drop down to the weekly time frame, is that we had a very nice price action right here. Is that price had broken this structure right here. We can see the price broke this previous structure high, right? We had the high, we had this low, price broke structure. It came back to the order block that was responsible for breaking the high. So we came back to this one right here. Then we had a strong push towards the upside. Now we had this order block right here, which was the decisional down candle before the up move. And we had the extreme right here. But we can see that this extreme didn't have imbalance right here. Pretty much the price action was efficient. So there was no reason for price to come all the way down. It came to this one that had fairly imbalances right here above it. So price just tapped this one. It actually grabbed the liquidity that was sitting right here. We had this huge buildup of liquidity. Price just swept and started to push towards the upside. We also have equal highs on gold, right? So we actually seeing price actually targeting that equal high sitting above, right? I mean, this liquidity right here sitting at the top. So once price came to this weekly point of interest, we had this nice push towards the upside, which was change of character. We had the pullback and we had the second break. So the order flow also on the weekly with the daily is bullish, right? So we can see right here on the daily time frame. If I come down to the daily, we just had price came. This was the swing. This was the low. This was the high. And this was that swing low. So price came up, it just broke that swing high right there. So the change of character was established right there. And then we had the second break of structure right here on the daily. So the bullish order flow on the daily was confirmed at this point. Once we had this second break, the order flow was confirmed. Now, what I'm expecting to see on gold for the next week is to see price actually coming all the way down to this order block, and then we may see a continuation towards the upside. But as an intraday, I would love to see, for example, to sell all the way down to the point of interest, because there is a possibility that this order block may not hold, right? So that's why I like to be a scalper, because sometimes I can take advantage of what the market is giving me at the moment. So right here, to be able to count the trend safely, right? This daily order flow, because we can see that the structure, we had the high, we had this low, and then price gave us another high. So we're expecting to see price actually pulling back all the way down to this order block, and then we may see a continuation towards the upside, right? So in this scenario right here, whenever we have this daily structure towards the upside, I like to see a 4-hour, at least 4-hour change of character to the downside. So it can give us a signal that, okay, the daily is ready to do a pullback towards the POI below, and then possibly we may see a continuation. So if I drop down to the 4-hour time frame, we just had what we needed, right? We had that 4-hour change of character. We can see the price took out this swing low, right? Because we had the high, we had this swing low that then created this new high. Price just broke that previous low right there. And now, right, we're seeing price actually pulling back a little bit right here. This actually is not a good zone. I didn't see anything clean right here. I'm still waiting to see price to come above, to get a little bit inside that range, right? Because if we look at the range, our range, we have this range low, and we have this range high right here. So let me just outline them. Let me use the line tool right here and this one. So this is our range right here. This is our swing range. So what I'm expecting to see is price to come to this sell point of interest right here. So we can actually look for anything. We can look to sell anything from this point of interest. I actually recommend to look for M15 change of character once price taps here, and then we can take all the way down, right? You can even target this supply, this demand zone right here, right? So we can sell from this point all the way down to this order block right here, and then we may see if price will continue towards the upside, or if we will come all the way down to that weekly low. I mean, to that daily order block that is sitting below, right? So that's it, guys, for the outlook for the next week. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys do me that favor, hit the like button, subscribe, right? And remember that there is a discount on the lifetime mentorship. So if you're interested, feel free to hit my DM. The link will be in the description below. So I'll see you guys next time.